funny. How do you pronounce R-E-G-I-S?
Regis.
Regis.
செக் பண்ணிட்டு चतुर्वेदस्वरूपिणीं शृङ्गारकामराजोद्भव सकलविश्वव्यापिनीं देवीं शक्तिबीजोद्भव मातृकानशरीरिणीं देवनुत भवरोगहर वैद्यपति हृदय. Fine. रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना. भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. निगमकल्पतरोः गलितं फलं शुकमुखातमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतरसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं. व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः. अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः. पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनी पूर्वाचार्य सुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघात दूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्। सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं ततावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे। हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळीं प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां हृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसदरागमुद्भाव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथीम्। योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्ष द्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्ण। कारुण्य सिंधो कृष्ण कारुण्य सिंधो हृत्वा निशेषतापान् प्रदिशतु परमानन्दसन्दोहलक्ष्मी। अज्ञात्वा ते महत्त्वं यदिह निगदितं विश्वनाथ क्षमेथः। स्तोत्रं चैतत्सहस्रोत्तरमधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात्। द्वेधा नारायणीयं श्रुतिषु च जनुषस्तुत्यता वर्णनेन स्फीतं लीलावतारैरिदमितकुरुताम्। आयुरारोग्यसौख्यं जानकीकान्तस्मरणं गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं। नमस्सदसे नमस्सभायै. With the abundant blessings of Paramatma Shriyapati, we've been gathering for all these days in the very revered premises of Sri Mahalakshmi Temple, Ashland. The authorities in the temple have been so very kind enough, and probably in their temple history, they have accommodated so many people on stage. So, extremely thankful to all of you. In this Sapthaham series, collection of 7 days, why 7? Because Parikshit had the curse that was pronounced on him that he should be dying of Takshaka's bite in 7 days. So in those 7 days, he had the opportunity, Bhagavan given opportunity to listen to the pastimes of Bhagavan through the great son of Vedavyasa called Shuka Brahmam. So he spent his time very preciously, usefully for 7 days. He did that all through the day, so he never took a break. But given the limitations that we have as primitive mortals, we have allocated 2 hours a day. That way we have completed 5 days. This is the 5th day. We have completed 4 days. This is the 5th day. Tomorrow there will be another day. Then the last day, which will end with Rukmani Kalyanam, will happen on Sunday. It will begin at 10 a.m. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have seen various avatars. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Antargata Varaha Charama Shlokam, Nisimhavataram, Vamanava Trivikramavataram. There is clear mention of Dakshayajnam, Pruthu Charitram, Dhruva Charitram, Kapilopadesham, Jadabharata Charitram, Ajamilopakhyanam, Ambarisha Charitram, Vatapatra Kolam. All this is there. There is also clear mention of Parashurama Avataram and Rama Avataram. There is no doubt. But Rama Avataram requires another set of 9 days. It is Navaham. So, given that as the scenario, I have not taken up Rama Avataram. If it were Narayaniyam, for instance, instead of Bhagavata Sapthaham, we have had Narayaniya Sapthaham, then I would have been forced to cover 2 Dashakams, 34 and 35, Girvanair Arthamano. So 2 Dashakams I had to cover, but in Bhagavatam we don't have to. Because Rama Avataram, he says Purva Suribihi, refer to my ancestors, which means Valmiki Maharshi. So he says, go read Valmiki Maharshi. In other words, say, buy the book of Dushyanth. So, that is Rama Avataram. We have had Parashurama Avataram as well. And Parashurama is very much linked to Rama Avataram. So, there were 2 Ramas at one point in time. One J Rama, the other one was D Rama. That is why when Parashurama, when Vishwamitra comes and says, Swaputram Rajashardulam Ramam Satya Parakramam Kakapaksha Dharam Veeram Jeshtham Me Datum Arhasi Dasharatha, give me that son of yours who has got his hair locks, tresses which are curly and flow by his temples. Give me that son of yours. That is when Dasharatha refrains and probably defends his decision to not send Rama, stating that you are calling my son, who has got the eyes that are akin to the petals of a newly blossomed lotus, wherein lotus blossoms in the morning and closes in the evening, and you're asking him to fight the demons, one nocturnal. So how will my child fight? Una Shodasha Varsho, Me Ramaha Rajiva Lochanaha Na Yuddha Yogyatamyasya Pashyami Saharakshasaihi is Dasharatha's Uttaram. Una Shodasha Varshaha, my son is not even 16 years of age. Una Shodasha Varshaha, Me Ramaha, my Rama. Why did he say my Rama? Because rishis will never take anything which has got mamakaram attached to it. Even when you do havis in the yagam, you say, Indra Yaswaha, I give this ahuti, havis to Indra. Indraya, thereby from now on, this is Indra's. Idam, na mama, not mine. Mama, not mine. Na mama. Then only Indra will say, okay, since you have relinquished your ownership on this havis, I will take it. Now he has to give it to Vishwamitra, he has to give Rama to Vishwamitra. That is why he says, Me Rama, he is my Rama. Only if he says my Rama, Vishwamitra will not take. Me Ramaha. The other reason is, he is my Rama, he is D Rama. He is neither J Ram nor N Ram. So, do not take my son. So Jamadagni Sutta, Jamadagneya we call him. That is why Vedanta Deshika reminds us, even at the end of Balakandam, Rama had won over Ravana because Rama did Garvabhangam of Parashurama, Parashurama did Garvabhangam Hatya of Kartavirya Arjuna won over Ravana. So if Ravana is won over by Kartavirya Arjuna is killed by Parashurama, and Parashurama's Garvabhangam is done by Rama, Rama is won over Ravana. Kratuhara Shikhari Kantuka Vihrutyunmuka Jagadiruntu Dajitahari Danti Danta Danturonta Dashavadana Damana Kushala Dashashata Bhujamuka Nrupatikula Rudira Jara Bharita Prututara Tata Katarpita Pitrika Bhrugupati Sugati Vihati Karanata Parudishu Pariga. All this Vedanta Deshika brings together in one churnika. Betty Botter should go sit in some place. Betty Botter bought some butter. She sells seashells on the seashore. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would? All this has to take some sabbatical and go. Kavi Kathaka Simha Katitham Kathora Sukumara Gumbha Gambhiram Bhava Bhaya Bheshajam Etat Patata Mahavira Vaibhavam Sudhiyaha. 4 dhas, 3 bhas, 3 thas. If one is seated in front of you, full Amrita Varshini. Shri Nandanadi Samrakshini Shri Guru Guha Janani Chidrupini Sananda Hridaya Nilaye Sadaye Satya Suvrishti Hetave Tvam Santatam Chintaye Amruteshwari Salilam Varshaya Varshaya Nandamruta Kashini Amrita Varshini Haradi Pujite Shive Bhavani. So Jamadagneya, Jamadagni's son Parashurama is described in Bhagavatam, but I have to skip that as well. So Rama and Parashurama reserved for Ramavataram. Now we got into Krishna Avataram yesterday. So this is one avataram where Krishna practiced music. See, in Rama Avataram, he wanted to get into music, but somehow and some people learn music, but they will be very public shy, they will never sing. So Rama wanted to, but in Krishna Avataram, he did learn music. But at one stage, you start with sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. It's da, because it's Daivatam, not Daivatam. Pa sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa sa ri cha ri ri re ga ga ma ma. Then Meltatu Uchasthai. Then you do Alankaram Lambodara Lakumikaro Varavina Mridupani Kamalajadala Keraya Niranu Padumana Parama Purusha Raravenu Gopabala Rajita Sadguna Jayashila. You do all this. Krishna learnt all this. He was a Raravenu, right? The teacher said, you better take to some instrument. Voice is a bit problem, Kichu. So he wanted to take an instrument which is travel friendly. See, some instruments are not travel friendly. If you take Veena, for that Veena, you have to do that casing, this, that, you have to put cushions on all sides. You don't know whether you'll get one in the conveyor belt or two. Veena, Mridangam, Ghatam, that is why they will have 3-4 pots. Easiest is flute. You can take it along. So Krishna wanted to go for the easy solution. And 2 Vadyams have Bhagavad Adhara Sambandham. One is Shankham, the second is flute, Venu. These are the 2 instruments that you can keep very close. That is why Andal asks the Shankham, Karpuram Narumo Kamalapu Narumo Tirupavala Shevai Tantitita Irukamo. Because you see in advertisements, so in advertisements, if you see, the girl will approach the boy and the boy will open his mouth, immediately the girl will say. Then they will show that Colgate mouth, he has to wash, and then the moment he comes, that fragrance will come, she will like him. So Andal is also very practical. She asks the Shankham, you are the very one closest to his mouth. Tell me, how does he smell? Does he smell like the newly blossomed lotus? Tamara madri. In Tamil Nadu, she's asking, is he blooming like the lotus? Karpuram narumo kamala punarumo. What karpuram? Karpuram is not the one we take harati with. It is the edible camphor called pachai karpuram. Tirupavala sevai tan titittu irukumo. Is he very sweet? So this Shankam is one vadyam that the Lord plays. But Shankam, you cannot do a melody with Shankam. One boy asked me in Tamil Nadu, sir, you are telling so many questions are there. I have one question. You know why Narayana has Chakram and Shankam in his hands? I said, they are his ayudhams. No, sir. Chakra thala vetittu sangudiduvar, sir. Tirupavala sevai tan titittu irukumo. Maru poshita madhavantan வாய்ச்சுவையும் நாற்றமும் விரிபுற்று கேட்கின்றேன் சொல்லாழி வெண்சங்கே. So Shankam is a vadyam, but it lacks melody. The only one that can touch his adharam and has melody is Venu. That is why in Tirumala Tirupati, the Acharya describes that all ragas seek asylum at Bhagavan's feet. Natara Bhibhupala Bilahari Maya Malava Gaula Asaveri Saveri Shuddha Saveri Devagandhari Dhanyasi Begada Hindustani Kapi Todi Natakuranji Shri Raga Sahana Athana Sarangi Darbaru Pantu Varali Varali Kalyani Bhuri Kalyani Yamuna Kalyani Husheni Janjoti Kaumari Kannada Karahara Priya Kalahamsa Nadana Makriya Mukhari Todi Punnada Varali Kambodi Bhairavi Yadukula Kambodi Ananda Bhairavi Shankara Bharana Mohane Gupti Saurashtri Nilambari Gulakari Gadajani Hansadhari Shokavarari Madhyamavati Janjuruti Suruti Dvijavanti Malayambari Kapi Parashudamasari Deshikatodi Ahiri Vasanta Goli Santu Kedara Gaula Kanakangi Ratnangi Ganamurti Vanaspati Vachaspati Danavati Manarupi Senapati Hanuttodi Dhenuka Nataka Priya Kokila Priya Rupavati Gayaka Priya Vakulabhara Chakravaka Suryakanta Hatakambari Jankaradvani Natabhairavi Girvano Harikambodhi Dhira Shankara Bharanadalandini Yadapriya Visrama Sarasadana Prasityadi Santata Santana Nityotsava Pakshotsava Masotsava Samvatsarotsavari Vividhotsava Kritanandaha Srimadananda Mulayavasaha Shri Srinivasaha Suprasanna Vijayatam. These are the ragas that play, propitiate Bhagavan, who plays the flute. Yesterday in Krishna Jananam, we got to witness that beautiful drishyam where Krishna was born. It is a very famed shloka, Tam Adbhutam Balakam. Vasudeva was able to see an extraordinary child, a unique child, Adbhutam Balakam Akshata, Vasudeva Akshata. So in Sanskrita Bhasha, if you have to indicate a little child, you say Balam, Balam Mukundam Manasasmarami. You just use the word Balam. But here Shukad Brahmam says Balakam Ambujekshanam. So Ka is a pratyaya, suffix. The rule in grammar is Alparthe Kaf Pratyayaha. In case you have to indicate an object which is extremely small, smaller than what you had envisaged it to be, then you call it Balaka. So if the obstetrician had said that the boy would measure 8 centimeter and the boy is just 6 centimeter, then he was thought to be Balam, he ended up being Balakam. So Balakam means small. Yes, he was a premature child, he was just born, so small one. Just not that. Kaha in Sanskritam me. See, every akshara will also have a specific meaning. If I have to give you an example, let's say in Angla Bhasha, in English, certain letters become words. For example, A. A is a letter. A for apple. But you can use that as an indefinite article as well. So in articles, this is chapter 3 in Renan Martin. So 5-mark question. What are articles? There are 2 categories. Indefinite articles, definite articles. Indefinite is a and an. One will come before consonants, the other will come before vowels. All this we have read. So that time A is not treated just as a letter. If you use it as an article, it becomes a word. For example, Shra, Shra, Shri, Shri. Shri is a letter. But Shri is also the name of Mahalakshmi. Shrihi ityevachanamate bhagavati bhrumakkatam stvam vayam. So if you take ka, the aksharam ka and 2 dots, kaha. In Sanskritam, kaha means Brahma. If you call kaha, kaha, Brahma will come. Ma, abdina Mahalakshmi undru. Ma means Mahalakshmi. That is why in Srimad Ramayana with the Upodghatam, when he curses, that turns into a blessing. Ma nishadayat pratishthantvam agamashashvati samaha. Yat krauncha mitunadekam avadihi kamamohitam. So, Ma is Mahalakshmi. For example, dhava shabdeti pativachakaha. Dhava. Dhava. Dhava means husband. So, Ma is Mahalakshmi. Ma's dhava is Madhava. Mahalakshmi's husband is Madhava. Dhava is husband. Without husband is Vidhava. Without the wife is Vidhura, widower. So that root word will be dha, dhava. So dhava, dhava, dhura. So all this you have to operate. I think if there are a few restless children, the parents have to take them because, if there's certain distraction, the flow of thoughts is affected. Madhava. So Kaha. Kaha is Brahma. When Bhagavan was born, Bhagavatam states in that cell, in that particular premises, immediately Devaki and Vasudeva spotted a lotus emerging from the navel of the boy. The boy was this much. In that there is one navel. From that navel is a small lotus. And on that lotus is seated Brahma. Small Brahma, 4 heads. Just imagine, one dot. She was surprised. See, she became a grandmother while she became a mother. Because she became a mother by birthing Krishna. Krishna gave birth to Brahma. So, பாட்டிங்கிறது யோ என்னையா இப்பதானே அம்மாவே ஆயிருக்கும். Kaha is Brahma. Balaha is the boy. Balaha kaha yasya sa balakaha. The Balaha boy who gave rise to Kaha Brahma is Balakaha. Tam adbhutam balakam ambuje kshanam. He's got lotus like eyes. See, this is very characteristic of Paramatma. Chandogyam says, Kapyasam pundarikamevam akshini. His eyes will be like lotus. Shurpanaka says her nose has been chopped. She's bleeding profusely. She goes to her brothers, Khara, Dushyanth and Sridhar, and they ask, who did this to you? Those 2 men with lotus-like eyes chopped my nose. She says, Tarunau, Rupa Sampannau, Sukumarau, Mahabalau, Pundarika Vishalaksho. Will you ever do that? Yarna Aranja. Hero Madri Hotar Vanda. Aranju to pay Tarnanjulu, Ashadu Mari. Even Shurpanakha couldn't take her eyes off from his lotus-like eyes. Tam adbhutam balakam ambuje kshanam. Somebody may ask, that is Ramavataram. Adi Ramudu. Krishnudu kadu. ఏం చెప్తున్నారు స్వామి మీరు? నేను ఇంకొక దృష్టాంతం ప్రస్తుతం చేస్తాను. మహాభారత సమయంలో when Krishna had to become the Duta, messenger, he became the messenger. He went to Hastinapuram And Duryodhana was the Sambandhi of Krishna. I hope you know this. Krishna was married to Jambavati. They had a son by the grace of Shiva, Shambhu. So he was called Shambha. This Shambha was married to the daughter of Duryodhana. So Krishna and Arjuna are Sambandhis. So this being the scenario, Krishna went to Hastinapuram and Duryodhana said, we are more than one way, we are related. So he made arrangements, a very good presidential suite with all the facilities and people waiting. Like the grand wedding which is happening in Mumbai, all arrangements were made. So Krishna had to enter. So Krishna entered. That is when Duryodhana came and said, well, the suite is ready for you. Krishna said, no, I will not stay in the place where you give. Bhishma has made arrangements for you, Krishna. No, not Bhishma this time. Drona? No. Where will you stay? I will stay in the hut where Vidura is. Now you may be wondering, you said Vidura is widower. That is Vidura. This is Vidura. Difference. Vidura means wise. Vidura means widower. So he said, I'll stay in Vidura's hut. Duryodhana, it was a big prestige issue for him. Bhishma Drona Vratikramya Mamschaiva Madhusudana Kimartham Pundarikaksha. You have abandoned my house, you have abandoned Bhishma and Drona's house, all lotus side one. Why did you choose Vidura's house? Even while scolding. Bhishma Drona Vratikramya Mamschaiva Madhusudana Kimartham Pundarikaksha. So in Ramavataram or Krishna Avataram, that lotus eye has to come. Tamadbhutam balakam ambuje kshanam. How was he born? Chaturbhujam, 4 hands. I told this somewhere, 4 hands. They said, theek hai. But the point is, in Krishna Avataram, he had 4 hands throughout. Mother said, ye kya hai beta, 4 hands, 32 teeth. Who will accept? My brother is waiting to kill you. I don't want to lose you. My dear child, you're the apple of my eye, orange of my throat. I can't lose you. Throw all those 32 teeth. The boy threw. Hide those 2 hands. My brother will come and spot you. Till my brother is there, keep those 2 hands in hiding. Krishna was very good in geometry. See, in geometry, there's something called the corollary. If I say that till my brother is there, hide those 2 hands. The corollary is, after my brother is dead, keep those 2 hands. There is a corollary. See, if I am doing Harati to Bhagavan, I'll say, please switch off the fan. What does it mean? After I finish, switch on the fan. That is implied. If the person is smart enough. Later then I have to tell, ipa on pannunga appadina vaazhathandu buddhi avladhaan irukum. So if you are smart, you know, for the Harati you have to switch off, which means after the Harati you have to switch on. You don't have to tell that to a person who at least intends using some portion of his brain. So here, tamadbhutam balakam ambujekshanam chaturbhujam. Mother says, hide those 2 hands. That is why he hid. He threw his 32 teeth, he hid his 2 hands. Whereas after Kamsavadham, he had 2 other hands. Chaturbhujam. How do we know that? Kuch bhi aap batate ho. Just because you've been given the mic, you cannot say anything, Dushyanth. We will also put YouTube videos against you. If you say like this. Now the point is, if you go to Gopalapuram, I'm talking about the locality in Chennai, there is a beautiful Krishna's temple. Don't think of any other thing. In Gopalapuram, there is a beautiful Krishna's temple. He has got Chaturbhujam. See that alone and come. So Chaturbhujam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, who's the Sarathi, becomes the Gita Acharya and does Gitopadesham to Arjuna. In Ekadashadhyayam, he shows his Vishwarupam. Arjuna is petrified. He says, Kichu is like this. Svenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Krishna, come back to your original form with 4 hands. which indicates that after Kamsavadham, throughout Krishna had 4. But why did he close those 2 hands, hide those 2 hands? Because the mother said, Matradevo Bhava. That is why people say, Ram listened to his father when he was 24 years of age and went to the forest. Krishna listened to his mother the moment he was born. Who is greater? Tamadbhutam balakam ambujekshanam chaturbhujam. He was so small. In those small figure, there are 2 hands behind. In that there is one small chakram. Shankha gada yudhar yudham. In that small chest, there is one gem, Kaustubam. Srivatsa Lakshmam Galashobhi Kaustubam. In Srivatsam, Mahalakshmi was there. She zoomed. She took one photo of Devaki and she zoomed and saw there is one lady. Hey, ye kaun hai? Ipa pillekku idu ennadi idu ponnu pudichunu vandirukku. Yaar idu? Srivatsa Lakshmam. She became a mother-in-law as well. She didn't have to go to Bharat matrimony, 5 feet 6 inches, wheat complexion, roggy complexion, clean habits. Bodave venda. Mandu tumatu punnu. Srivatsa Lakshmam Galashobhi Kaustubham. How will you engage Mahalakshmi? Mahalakshmi is seated there permanently. So he kept one mirror next to her. Kaustubham. You keep seeing your beauty there. Srivatsa Lakshmam Galashobhi Kaustubham. That is why in elevators they will have full mirrors. How will you see if you're going your 45th floor closer to Vaikuntham? How will you see? So you have to all mirrors. Nama apde kannadiyara mari. Sumaradhani irkum, sumaradhani irkum. Chaturbhujam shankha gadha yudhar yudam Srivatsa Lakshmam Galashobhi Kaustubam Pitambaram. See, dark hued is Krishna. Bright yellow is his silk. Don't even venture on this. It's a very deadly combination. Black, yellow and bright red Angavastram. But it suits him, not us. Chaturbhujam shankha gadha yudhar yudam Srivatsa Lakshmam Galashobhi Kaustubam Pitambaram Sandhrapayoda Saubhagam Maharha Vaidurya Kirita Kundalatvisha. He was born with full jewelry. Parishvakta Sahastra Kuntalam Uddhama Kanchi with a girdle Gada Kankanadi Bhir Virochamanam Vasudeva Maikshata. Vasudeva was able to see. What a drishyam. That is when she couldn't even give. I'm sure the medical practitioners here, those who are studying medicine, if there are obstetricians, if there are students of human body, will know that the delivered mother gives her first milk. It's called the colostrum. She couldn't even feed her son that milk. The boy had to be escorted for safety. It was pouring outside. Kamsa was awake but still disturbed sleep. Everybody else was sleeping but Kamsa, the boy, Devaki and Vasudeva. Have you heard of Shivaji? Chhatrapati. Shivaji na ennama. So, Chhatrapati Shivaji was imprisoned by Aurangzeb. 10-mark question, write about Aurangzeb. Idella padichu mokshame kadikadu. Waste. So this Aurangzeb put Chhatrapati Shivaji in a jail. Shivaji wanted to escape. In his younger days, he used to attend to Bhagavatham Sapthaham. So he got the idea, he put himself into a fruit basket and escaped, like how Krishna is going to escape. So Krishna sat in the basket and Vasudeva had to carry him. Doors opened, RFID, they all opened. See, all this is magic. Now don't put logic here and ask, how can doors open? It will open in Krishna Avataram, it will open. He will lift mountain, he will dance on a snake. It is all magic. Mayanai, Mannu Vadamadurai, Maindanai. You can ask as many questions as possible, but there won't be any answers. Don't keep our children as a benchmark. First step itself is wrong. So he lifted mountain, he danced on the snake, doors opened, Vasudeva carried him. When he carried Bhagavan outside, it was pouring. He was worried. A newborn child, when water pours on the child may barely survive. Not one drop fell on the child. Vasudeva looked up. It was a 1,000-hooded, white-complexioned Adishesha who was the umbrella. Bayandutar. You have cobra above you, multi-headed cobra. He put his head down, not one drop fell on him. On the other hand, the waters had to fall on Adishesha. Not one drop fell on Adishesha. Adishesha wondered, what is this, sir? It went, looked up. Shrutimayo iti pannagaha. Garuda was offering shelter to Adishesha. It was a beautiful drishyam. To Bhagavan, the Kainkaryam was done by Adishesha, a Bhagavatottama. To a Bhagavatottama like Adishesha, Garuda did the service. So he did Bhagavata Kainkaryam. Garuda did Bhagavat Kainkaryam. Adishesha did Bhagavat Kainkaryam. Garuda did Bhagavata Kainkaryam. Parama Bhagavata Mauni Varashashi Vibhakara Sanaka Sanandana Digisha Surakim Purusha Kanaka Kashipu Sutanarada Tumburu Pavana Sunu Bala Chandra Dhara Shuka Saroja Bhava Bhusura Varulu Parama Pavanulu Ghanulu Shashvatulu Kamala Bhava Sukhamusada Nubhava Mugakayendero. Who are the Bhagavatas? Tyagaraja states Parama Bhagavata Mauni. Mauni ante Muni. Vara Shashi Vibhakara Sanaka Sanandana Dhigisha, the Dikpalakas, Surakim Purusha Kanaka Kashipu Sutta Prahlada Narada Tumburu Pavana Sunu ante Hanumantudu, Pavana Sunu Balachandra Dhara Shiva, Saroja Bhava Brahma, Bhusura Vedic Brahmanas, Suravarulu Parama Pavanulu Ghanulu Shashvatulu Kamala Bhava Sukhamu Sadanu Bhava Mugakayendero. See, when you split the Sahityam and understand of Tyagaraja, you can really get to the depths. But we are in a very mundane. Parama Bhagavata Mauni Varashashi Vibhakara Sanaka Sanandano Disurukim Purushakana Guru Alavara. If you forget the lyrics, you know how to do it in Carnatic. So, Bhagavatottama, it was so beautiful to witness this sight. The boy had to cross. Shrutimayo iti pannagaha. He was born in the nakshatram called Rohini. Why was he born in Rohini? Leela Shuka says, Swati sapatni kilatarakanam mukta phalanam jananiti roshat sarohini neela masutaratnam kritaspadam gopavadhu kucheshu. Beautiful shloka. Leela Shuka says, see, I told you on day 2 at about 7 p.m. I told you that Daksha Prajapati gave away his daughters who were the nakshatras in marriage to Chandra, Soma. You remember that time I said, for most fathers, the daughters are stars. For him, the stars were his daughters. I told you. You remember? This arrangement was slightly different. 2 of them were seated there. That's all. Everything was there. So, in the nakshatras who were married to Soma, Chandra was very fond of one patni called Rohini. She used to be on page 3. I don't know if you all follow that. They'll say, Rohini was spotted with Chandra at this party or something. So everywhere, they used to take Rohini only. Baaki in the Uttaretadi, Uttarada, Ellam, the Apagata, Napa, and Lipipaniptalepa. Baaki Nakshatra, Slesha, Punarasu, Pushyon, Rohini has the opportunity to go everywhere. What will we do? On the other hand, there was a huge controversy. When Chandra comes in combination with Swati Nakshatram, it is believed in our Sanatana literature that the pearls are born from the oysters in the seas when Swati Nakshatram is there. So on Swati, Muttu. Telugu bhashalo muktalu anta cheptaru kada, mutyam. Oh, Swati mutyam. Oh, Vishwanath garu unnaru kada. So mutyam is kannadalli ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? ಮುದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಮುತ್ತು ಮಲಯಾಳത്തിൽ എന്താണ്? ಮುತ್ತು. ಅಪ್ಪಾಡಿ ನಾರಾಯಣ. ಮುತ್ತು ಮುತ್ಯಂ ಮುದ್ದು ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಅவ்வளோதான். அப்ப हिंदी में क्या है? मुक्त. ಮೋತಿ. ಮೋತಿ. ಅಪ್ಪಾಡಿ. மோதின்னு விட்டார். ஆனால் அவர் முத்து தான் வச்சுருந்தோம். So it is believed that the pearls are born from the oysters on the day of Swati Nakshatram. Rohini got upset. She said, for everywhere you take me, but finally you give birth. You birth to pearls only with Swati. She said, मैं आपसे बात नहीं करूंगी, नहीं करूंगी, नहीं करूंगी. That is when Chandra said, don't worry. One unique night when Rohini, you are there on the sky, that night I will give birth to a blue color sapphire, who's Krishna. He will be so unique that you don't have to worry. So on Rohini day, Krishna was born, right? So that is when Rohini was happy. That is why he says, Swati sapatni kilatarakana mukta phalanam janani tiroshat sarohini neelam asutaratnam kritaspatam gopavadhu kucheshu. So Krishna was born. He had to go across the Yamuna waters. Now what happened was, again, this is beyond our scientific understanding, simple science. Water flows from higher level to lower level. From Kalinda Parvatam, Kalindi is coming. Kalindi, Kantihari, Kalayatu Vapushaha, Kalima, Kaitabharehe. Yamuna is called Kalindi. She will flow. So when Vasudeva carried Krishna and entered the waters of Yamuna, the Yamuna waters split. One branch went backwards towards Kalinda Parvatam. See, now we need to understand, in Srimad Ramayanam, Kumbhakarna talks to Ravana and says, give back Sita. This is all very nasty thing of abducting somebody's wife. Very bad. In your CV, it will not look good. Achievements, abducted Rama's wife. Don't do this, Ravan. Aisa mat karo. So Ravana said, nothing doing. I will not give back Sita. It was an ego issue for him. That is when Kumbhakarna said, see, you are fighting a lost cause. If this war is fought, surely we will lose. Our victory is not possible. Like how the waters that have flown from Kalinda Parvatam in Yamuna river can never go back to the mountain. He says this in Yuddha Kandam, but he was not cognizant of the fact that in Krishna Avataram, even this will happen. So in Krishna Avataram, when he entered the waters, immediately the water split, that gave way. So he was being carried on his head. Krishna had to be taken. Now it is pouring. Now he had to enter Gokulam. Gokulam is a new territory for him. And Gokulam has a lot of gullies. You wouldn't know exactly which way to go to Nandagopal's house. It is pouring, no light. How did he find out which house to go? That is when Vedanta Deshika says in Yadava Abhyudayam, at the end of every street there will be an image of the village deity. He is called the Kaval Deivam in Tamil. So we call him Karupusami. He'll have one mustache, he'll have one sword. He'll be standing. That statue will be there in every street corner. But when Krishna was born, something unique happened. Even the Achetana statues got Chaitanyam. So those swords moved like this and became arrows, it seems. So through that mark, Vedanta Deshika says that he was able to spot the way to Nandagopal's house. The door opened. Everything is magic. Door opened. Everybody was sleeping. By then, Navami Tithi was born. Remember this very carefully. Our Tithi calculation is not akin to our day calculation. For us, exactly the day will begin at 12, end at 12. No, it is not that way. Tithi may begin at 4 o'clock this evening, go on till 3 next morning. See, that is how Tithi is calculated. Tithi is, that is why we have too many Krishna Jayantis. 2, 3. Some will calculate from the Purva Paksham, some will calculate from the Picham. All these confusions will come. So when Krishna was born, it was towards the end of the Ashtami Tithi. So as soon as Krishna was born in Ashtami Tithi, he was escorted to Gokulam. Navami Tithi was born. And in Navami Tithi, Nandagopala's wife Yashoda delivered a baby girl. Pravritkale chanabhasi Krishna ashtamyam aham nishi utpatasyami navamyam tu prasutim tvamavapsyasi. So the child was born, the girl child was born to Yashoda. So technically, though they were born to different mothers, different fathers, and they were born in different tithis, that is how this girl, Yogamaya, who's Parvati's Amsha, is treated as Krishna's sister. He was born on Ashtami, she is born on Navami. So this Ashtami Navami combination only, we call it as brother-sister. This brother-sister has nothing to do with B positive blood, A positive blood, nothing. It is just a concept of brotherhood and sister, that feeling. Varaguru Guha Janani Madashamani Mahishasura Mardini Mandagamani Mangala Varapradayini Sarasi Janabha Sodari Shankari Pahimam. Bimbadari, there is a kshetram called Vedaranyam, and above that is Nagapattinam. In Nagapattinam, there is a beautiful Shiva temple called Kayarohanishwara, and the Devi is called Nilayadakshi. Bimbadari Chit Prati Bimbadari Bindunadava Shankari Shankari Ambujaraman Sodari Adari Ambari Kadambari Nilabari Amba. So this concept of brother and sister comes from Krishna Avataram, but it got extrapolated to Rama Avataram as well. In Rama Avataram, there is no immediate reference to Parvati. But in Rama Avataram as well, we treat Parvati as the sister to Rama. Who says this? Tyagaraja says when Rama was getting ready for the marriage with Sita, he started walking fast. That is when Parvati said, walk a bit slow. People should not think you're desperate. Ninu judavachu bhagini karambu chiluka manasuranjillani hecharikaga rara he Ramachandra hecharikaga rara. So she was born to Yashoda. Yashoda had delivered in the mid of the night. She was completely unconscious. She had slept. Now the babies were swapped. How could Vasudeva do this? Illegitimate. But Yogamaya had said you have to swap. So he kept the baby boy there, took the baby girl. He took her back, and as the baby was taken back to Mathura jail, that is when Kamsa heard the hoarse voice of the baby cry. He came running, took the sword from his cupboard, and then he said, for this little child, why should I use an ayudham? He just plucked the child from the hands of the mother, like how an elephant would effortlessly pluck a lotus from the pond, says Bhattatri. But that didn't stop there. The child was plucked like a lotus from the arms of the mother, but the child went flying into the sky like how a Vishnu Bhakta escapes from the Pasha of Yama, says Bhattadri. She went into the sky. Amba, Shambhavi, Chandramauli, Abala, Aparna, Uma, Parvati, Kali, Haimavati, Shivadri, Nayani, Katyayani, Bhairavi, Savitri, Navayavana, Shubhakari, Samrajya, Lakshmi Prada, Chidrupi, Paradevata, Bhagavati, Srirajarajeswari. She stood with 8 hands. Ahamasesha Sura Suramohini, Yavanika, Madhukaita Mardanaha. Prabala Shumba Nishumba Nishudane Pranihita Hataya Tava Kimmaya. The one who is born to kill you is safe. She went away. Do whatever you want. Sleepless nights. How many ever lectures he listened, nothing happened. From that day onwards, he did not know. She didn't tell the address. Sleepless nights. Now, on the other hand, next morning at about 5 a.m. that morning, Yashoda got her consciousness back. She checked. Beautiful child lying like a lotus next to her. She checked. She was shocked. It was a boy. The gynaec had told her it will be a girl. She had bought all clothes, all in pink, all the abharanam for a girl. And that 15-day period was also over to give back. See, return period. When, see, in our house and many houses, you will have this paddhati. When a new dress or some garment is bought, we generally apply haridra to it and then wear. It's very common amongst most Hindu families. We believe that this is a prasadam of Bhagavan. We show to him. We apply that haridra kumkumam and apply. So in 2017-18, when my grandmother was alive, I used to buy some clothes from Amazon. So she used to say, don't put this haridra and all. I asked why. Yaar potun kuduthirpaalo. Kisi ka uttaran to hi hoga ye. Idhukku okandru manjal kungumam ella vechittu 15 naal potte kuduthirpar. So these clothes couldn't be given. That is why Krishna Avataram, if you go to a kshetram, see, every state will have one famous Krishna kshetram. You go to Maharashtra, Pandharpur. Karnataka, there will be Doddamalur and Udupi. You go to Andhra, there will be Muvak kshetram, Tirupati kshetram. Because Tirupati is also Krishna. Kannan nadine emakku kattum verpu. If you go to Tamil Nadu, you have got Mannargudi. You have got Kerala, there is always Guruvayur. You go to Odisha, there will be Puri Jagannath. You go to Gujarat, there will be Dwaraka. There will be a Krishna kshetram. You have to come to Rajamannargudi in Tamil Nadu. Extremely handsome Rajagopala. And his dressing sense will be quite different from other devatas because you will have septum, the mullak. How did that mullak come to Krishna? Because she had bought all jewelry for the girl, right? She couldn't give it back. So she put all this to Krishna. That is why there is a prachina shlokam. Amongst men, it is Rama who is extremely handsome. Purusheshu cha Raghavaha. Amongst men, it is Rama. Undoubtedly. Anybody who sees Rama, Lavanya Rama Lara Judare. He had Lavanyam. He had Saundaryam. Avayava Shobha, Samudaya Shobha. Saundaryam means Avayava Shobha. Part by part, the person should be beautiful. Eppadi irukka paakkradhukku mooku mattum nanna irukku. Muli illa mooku muliyila mooku mattum dhaan nanna irukku, muli nanna illa. So part by part. மாப்பிள்ளை எப்படி இருக்கார் பார்க்கறது, தூரக்கு ஏன் பார்க்கறதுக்கு நல்லா இருக்கார். லாவண்யம்னு அர்த்தம். கிட்டக்க போய் பார்க்கப்படாதுன்னு, ஜூம் பண்ணக்கூடாது, இந்த 2x எல்லாம் போடவே கூடாது. உங்க மாப்பிள்ளை அவர் வாயை திறக்காத வரைக்கும் நல்லா இருக்கார், திறந்துட்டார்னா போச்சு. சௌந்தர்யராஜம் ஆயஷயே கஜ பிருந்தாவன சாரங்க வரதராஜம் ஆயஷயே நந்தனராஜம் நாகப்பட்டினராஜம். Alvar says how beautiful is Bhagavan in Nagapattinam. பொன்னிவர் மேனி மரதகத்தின் பொங்கிளம் சோதி அகலத்தாரம் மின்னிவர் வாயில் நல்வேதம் மோதும் வேதியர் வானவர் அவர் தோழி என்னையும் நோக்கி என் நல்குலும் நோக்கி ஏந்திளம் கொங்கையும் நோக்குகின்றார். அன்னை என் நோக்கும் அஞ்சுகின்றேன். அச்சோ 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 ஒருவர் அழகியவா. How beautiful is Saundarya Raja, Saundarya Raja, Lavanya Raja, all that in Rama. Purusheshu cha Raghavaha. Amongst men, Rama is handsome. Women, Narishu Lalita Devi. Lalita Parameshwari is pretty. Narishu Lalita Devi. Purusheshu cha Raghavaha. Amongst men, Rama. Amongst women, Lalita. Tayoho Sammelanam Krishne. Both these beauties came together in Krishna, it seems. Sarupam Kena Varnyate. The Kavi asks, how will I describe that beauty? Very handsome to look at, very beautiful to look at. Next morning, she had one WhatsApp group. Yaru Yashoda, I am fine, the baby is doing well. She messaged. Immediately her friends, they all exited their houses and they were rushing in huge batches to see how beautiful this child is. Our language around the 5th to the 9th century called Periyur Kannan Keshavanam Bi Pirandinil Ennai Shunnam எதிரெதிர் தூவிட கண்ணன் மூற்றம் கலந்தளராயிற்றே. ஓடுவார் விழுவார் உகந்தாலிப்பார் நாடுவார் நம்பிரான் எங்குற்றான் என்பார் பாடுவார்களும் பல்பறை கொட்ட நின்று ஆடுவார்களும் ஆயிற்றாய் பாடியே. So people started spraying different colors on each other. See, the concept of Holi was there even in the south of India. Periyalvar mentions, Ennai Shunnam Edir Edir Tuvida. 1500 years back. So it was a big event. Vasudeva, Nandagopal did not know how to manage such a crowd. He immediately put 10 rupees ticket, 20 rupees ticket, VIP seva, Tomala seva, Suprabhata seva. The women went inside. They said, "Unna mariye irukku Yashoda. Mukku mudiyum. Avadu appadiye irukku. Konjam ashadathanathai paatha avar mari irukku. Ana." Then Yashoda in 2-3 days, generally, it is a belief. I'm sure, I don't know medical practitioners whether they will concur with this or not. Post-pregnancy, once the child is delivered, the mothers may put on some weight. It was the other way around. She became very thin. They said, check your T3, T4, TSH. Why you have lost weight? She said, no, I know the result. I'll tell you why. If I keep him in the cradle, he hits it. So I have to pick him up. If I keep him here, he slides down. If I keep him down, he goes somewhere. Just by running around him, I become thin. Kidakkil tottil kiliya udaithidum, eduthu kollil marungai eduthidum, udukki pulgil udarattai paaydidum, midukkilamayal naan melindeen nangai. I became thin. Then she had to give the boy a bath. People who have spent a lot of time in the north of India, the children will be given a malish with mustard oil and they will be put just below the sun. And then you'll have to give them a bath. So she used to keep a very, very conducive admixture of hot and cold water in a pot. And she used to put the paste of gooseberry. Alvar says she used to put gooseberry because if the water by chance goes into the boy's mouth, it should taste sweet. And then she used to extend her legs, take her gagra up, put the oil massage child between her legs, and then she used to give him bath. The beauty was the boy used to find it so slippery that he used to hold her legs together. Alvar says, we keep searching where your legs are, and you are in turn holding the legs of this lady who has absolutely no idea of Veda or Vedanta. Krishna, what do we explain about this? Sanakadiyar tava yogam sheidu varundi sadhitadai punidamave elidil pera enna tavam seidhanai Yashoda engum nirai parabrahmam amma vendralekka. We all keep seeing him as Annayai Attanai. He calls you mother. What bhagyam have you done? Engum nirai parabrahmam amma vendralekka enna tavam seidhanai. He had to be put to sleep. See, in Krishna Avataram, every moment, even if he yawns, they will write 10 shlokas. He burps, 20 shlokas. Every moment in Krishna Avataram is watched. So what did Krishna do? He had to be put to sleep. So Yashoda had to buy a cradle. What cradle was it? Shuka Brahmam doesn't mention. Periyalvar mentions it was a cradle that was gilded in pure gold without copper in it. Just to make it very beautiful, the rubies of Myanmar, the sapphires of Sri Lanka, the diamonds of South Africa, the opals of Australia, all of this was studded. Manikam katti, vairamidai katti, aani ponnal seida vannachiru tottil, peni unakku piraman vidu thandan, manik kuralane talelo vayamalandane talelo. So generally, when you get a large project in a company, it is not advisable to give it to one vendor alone. So you'll distribute it and give. Yashoda wanted this lullaby competition to be given to many people. So she gave it to Periyalvar. Periyalvar passed the baton to Papanasam Shivan. Kayilendi shirati paluti, Kayilendi shirati paluti, Talat Yenatavam Shedane. He gave the baton to Narayana Tirtha. Sadhu Janadhara Sarva Bhava Madhava Mamavade Eva. He gave the baton to Iriyamantambi. O Manathingal Kidavu Nalla Komalathamara Poovo Poovil Niranya Madhuvo Paripurnendu Tanne Nilavu Puttam Pavida Kodiyo Cherutathagal Konjum Moriyo Chanchadiyadum Mayilo Mrudu Panjamam Padum Kuilo Yen Unni Krishnan Janicho. So Iriyamantambi says this. Every Acharya in the Bhakti movement celebrated Krishna Avataram so much he was put to sleep. Now everything is going well. In Krishna Avataram, action will begin immediately. Kamsa had one WhatsApp group. It was called V7. To be a part of that group, you should have at least minimum 100 FIRs. So the most qualified amongst the most experienced was Putana. What was Putana? Her specialization was to kill children. That was her specialization. She had done doctorate in that. Kada chidantarhita putanatma kamsa prayukta kilakapi maya nidra paradhina jane nishithe vrajam yashoda krutiraavivesha. She was sent by Kamsa that she has to kill newly born children. But she did not know where Krishna was. So she applied a virulent poison over her bosoms and she walked as if she was an Apsara Stri and entered Gokulam. Krishna did not want other children to die for his sake. So he cried loud, indicating that I'm here. So Yashoda, Putana walks. Yashoda had just fed Krishna, and she was a working woman. She had to be a part of Nandagopal dairy products, check the quality. In the backyard, milk was being boiled on one side, it had to be turned into curds, then butter had to be extracted, churned, then that had to be made into clarified butter, ghee put into bottles. Then they were also, using almond milk and this for vegans. So all this was happening. So Yashoda was busy. She had to leave her child. That is when Putana came as a wet nurse. She said, "Can I feed your son?" She said, "Sure, you're also a mother, you should also feed." So Yashoda said, I'll just go to the backyard. Please take care, Putana. I hope everything is fine. Take care. And she went. Putana kept the child on her lap. She gave a sarcastic smile. That I've come with a poison, you will die. Krishna gave back a smile. Let's see who does. Amnaya gandharudita spurita daroshtham atsla vilekshana manukshata mandahasam. He gave a smile. She wanted to feed. First, Krishna, being hungry, he extracted the poison which was smeared. You know that during the times of Socrates, we have heard of a poison called hemlock. So such was the poison he extracted. Bhagavatam says next came the milk. But technically it is logically untenable. Why? Because she has not delivered a kid. How will her glands be stimulated and how can she stimulate milk? But Bhagavatam, Shukha Brahmam says she fed him with milk. What milk? Sir, Avin? No, her own milk. Where? That is when I was asking this, one of my good medical practitioner friends, she said, there is a condition called galactoria. So on certain circumstances and stimulation, the lady can secrete milk. The moment she saw Krishna, probably she attained motherhood for an instance. And she secreted. Krishna took the poison, he extracted the milk, he continued extracting the milk, he couldn't extract further, he was hungry, he extracted. The Jivatma also came along, he didn't kill. It happened in the flow. Adu a mistake. Amnaya gandharudita spurita daroshtham matsla milekshana manukshata mandahasam Gopala dimbava pusham kuhana jananyaha pranasya nandanamavaini parampumamsam. That when the Jivatma was pulled from her, she couldn't bear the excruciating pain. She lamented and cried loudly. How loud was it? Deshika says, Gopascha sambhuya guhopamakshim swaghosha nirhadita vishwagosham gatasu maikshanta nishacharim tam bhima kritim bhaimarathim ivanyam. That sound was akin to the Bhaimarathi Ratri. What is Bhaimarathi? Appaya Dikshita, the great commentator, explains. The dream that you see with the sound on the 7th night of the 7th month in the 70th year. 70th year is called as Bhaimarathi. 7th night, 7th month, 70th year. That night is called Bhaimarathi. Very painful night, says Shastram. To get rid of that Bhaimarathi, we do Bhima Ratha Shanti. Bhaimarathim Ivanyam. Now you see, nobody will sleep that night. If we sleep only, we'll get the dream. No, sir. Thungave matta venna vannan paakalam, sir. So, that is when her body was lying. She had attained her original status of a demoness. She broke the walls of the living room in Yashoda's house. Her body was filling that gully. Yashoda heard this thunderous noise. She came, living room was missing. Hare, ye kya hua? Then she saw one huge body. Nandagopa had come. He did not know how to dispose this body. He's calling the opposite person. Pichumani! Pichu! Chandramouli, Mr. Chandramouli. Opposite people. Yes, sir. You cut andha kaiya nee vetti, indha kaiya na vettren, pottu thallalam. These are all golden words in the Tamil language. Hit and push, pottu thalladhu. So they started cutting that big demoness's body. What should have come? Smell, dirty smell. Because our body, how much ever L'Oreal, this, that we put, our body is full of flesh and blood. It is a concoction of bad smell. That is why we put deodorants, yardley, but if that will stay for a few minutes. If that goes, bad smell. That is why Alvar says, see, in vehicles and automobiles you must have seen, those companies will say, we are calling back 2 lakh vehicles as a manufacturing defect. Alvar says, if Brahma does that, see, he has fit liver, this gallbladder, appendix, appendix, kidney, lung, rib cage, brain. Suppose he keeps one brain. And he forgets to cover it with skin. Imagine everything is plain, everything is perfect. But he forgets to cover it with skin. Or, then what will happen? Alvar says, Ulle iruppadai purambe ittal. Alvar gives one instance. Imagine if all that which is inside the body is outside now. How dirty we will look. Ulle iruppadai purambe ittal kakkai votta naikidade gidir. You will find no time. You will not have time in your hands because all the crows will start pecking on you. So you will have time only to drive them away. So our body is of bad smell, and Putana, Balaghatini, how she must have smelled very bad. No, but the moment they started cutting her, it was smelling like agarbatti. I want this in our living room. It smells so good. Immediately Shukabramam asks, how did she smell so well? That is when he says, When Krishna touched her body, Adharam touched Pavitranam Pavitramyo Mangalanam Scha Mangalam. She became a cycle brand, Mangal Deep, everything she became. So now, first of all, they had to spot Krishna. Where was Krishna? Yashoda says, where's my son? Nandagopa spots on that huge demoness's body, there is one blue stone. So they put one ladder, climb up, take that child, escort the child back to safety, then dispose her body. Then Yashoda was worried. She said, what is this? Barely he's born, there is some crime scene here. So in the village, it was a belief that what protects your child, there are 2-3 things. One, a broom. That is why in villages there was a belief they'll keep a broomstick next to the child. It was believed. Now you may ask, will broomsticks be helpful? Will brooms be helpful? Delhiites now disagree. They say no, brooms have not been helpful. That's a different thing. But if you keep a broom, it was a belief that brooms will protect you. Second, a cart, a shakatam. So this was a useless shakatam. A cart which was useless. Where do they keep useless? Here we keep it in the garage. Because in most houses, where it's my 8th or 9th time to the US, I've been to 42 cities. Most houses I will always go through the garage. And garage will be like Brahma Srishti. It will have one ultra grinder, it will have one fridge. என்ன மாமி இதெல்லாம் வச்சிருக்கேள்? அந்த அல்ட்ரா வேலை பார்க்கல இங்கே வச்சுட்டேன். மாமா அவரையும் இங்கே வைக்கணும். ஸோ போனால் போகிறதேன்னு உள்ளே வச்சுருக்கேன். So here a shakatam was placed, and next to the shakatam, Krishna was placed in a cradle, and Yashoda said, okay, fine, I'll just go do some work and I'll be back. She went. A few other children were playing Lagori. I don't know if you have heard of the game called Lagori. They were playing Lagori. As they were playing Lagori, this shakatam had the Jivatma possessed in it. I told you, I don't know if I told you that day. Achetana Vastu will also have a Jivatma in its periphery. It will not act. But through an Asura called Utkacha, it had pervaded the cart. And the cart was lying atop with its handle, was coming down to hit the child which was seated in the cradle. And in the South Indian parlance, when a child cries, we say, Koranda, wheel, wheel na aludhudu. Literally, the child said, wheel, wheel. Shakatam has wheel, right? Wheel, wheel. So, the handle just came to strike the child. The child with its tender lotus petal-like feet just touched the Shakatam, and the Shakatam went rolling into the air. So just one hit is enough for it to go. Yes, in our movies, when the hero hits, 50 people will fall. That time did we question? No, we do Abhishekam for that hero. Akashad Vayuhu Vayor Agni Agnerabadhya Prithivi Prithivya Moshadhaya Abdin Pama Vargapanni. So Krishna can do it. So that Shakatam went. Now there is a bigger question here. So Bhattatri asks this question. He says when the Shakatam went into the air, it must have fallen on the ground, because ultimately gravitational pull, it must have fallen. But only 1 or 2 parts fell, rest all of them went somewhere. Where did they vanish? Bhattatri asks. He says, Shuddha Sattvam Babhuva, because Krishna's foot hit it, it got moksham, Shakatam. So when you're going to Vaikuntham, when you enter Vaikuntham, left hand side in the showcase, there will be one Shakatam. Remember, ஞாபகம் வச்சுங்க, அங்கே போய் சொல்லுங்க, அவர் அன்றைக்கே சொன்னார், 4-5 பேரை ஒன்றா போகிறேன்னு வச்சுங்க. ஓகே, போகும்போது அவர் அன்றைக்கே சொன்னார், பார்த்தீங்களா, ரொம்ப மோசம் கிடையாது, இங்கே சகனம் இருக்குன்னாரு. ரிமெம்பர், லெஃப்ட் ஹேண்ட் சைட் ஷோகேஸ் யூ வில் சி ஷகட்டம், ஷகட். If you're going from the north of India, you will not see shakatam, you will see only shakat. See, when I used to be in Pilani, we used to have one recitation. And it was very tough for me to digest. Shantakar, Bhujukshayan, Padmanabh, Suresh, Vishwadar, Gagan, Sadrish, Meghvan, Shubhang, Lakshmikant. Is this attendance register? Lakshmikant, Ullenaya. Kamal Nayan, Ullenaya. That will never come. I wondered why. Because this is Dvitiya Vibhakti. You have to say that. Lakshmikantam. Then only you are propitiating the one who has got Lakshmi in him. Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Hriddhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam. That should come. Lakshmikant Kamalnayan Yogi. Yogi nang UP len undru. So, there is another great charitram mentioned in Krishnavataram. It is mentioned by a Kavi called Pillai Perumal Iyengar in Ashtaprabandham. He talks about Dadibhanda. It is said that when Krishna became that naughty, nutcut young boy, he used to trouble his mother. His mother used to run, Vadava, I'm going to chase you. She started chasing. This boy had to escape the wrath and the clutches of his mother Yashoda. On the way, he spotted a man who used to sell the curds. I'm sure the elderly people here will know, when there was no refrigerators, we used to buy curds. So there was a person who used to sell curds. He was called Dadi Bhanda. Dadhi is curd. Bandham is the pot. And he used to sell Dadi from his bandham every day. He had no name. His name itself was Dadi Bhanda. So Krishna spotted Dadi Bhanda and said, Dadi Bhanda, please protect me, Dadi Bhanda. Dadi Bhanda said, I can protect you. I have sold all my curds today. You sit within my pot. I will put 2 holes so that you can breathe. I will inverse the pot and you can stay within the pot. So Krishna was inside the pot with those 2 holes. And the pot is over him. And over the pot, Dadi Bhanda has kept his hand. Takademi takajanu. He was just playing the ghatam there. And Yashoda comes running. Dadi Bhanda, did you see Krishna? No, I didn't see him. Krishna is looking at this from the inside of the pot. That is when Yashoda goes away. And Krishna says, thank God, Dadi Bhanda, you have helped me a lot. I shall remain indebted till the last breath. Please release me. No. Dadi Bhanda said, no, I will not release you. Why, Dadi Bhanda? Give me moksham. I should not have another birth. Krishna said, how did you know that I give moksham? I went to the Ashland temple. I learnt in the discourses that Krishna grants moksham. Okay, Dadi Bhanda, towards the end of this life, your Atma will reach Vaikuntham. You will not have Punarjanmam. Don't worry, I have granted. Now release me. No. You have to give moksham even to this pot. Dadi Bhanda, I have never given moksham to pots and carts, Bhanda. No, you have to give. Use your veto power, exercise it and give it. Krishna said, okay, I grant moksham to this Bhandam as well. That is why when you enter Vaikuntham, on the left hand side, there will be remnants of the Shakatam, and right hand side, there will be but that Bhandam that day. Please remember. In the Nal, Ashok. So, Grava prapada paripishta garishta deha bhrashtasu dushta danujo paridrishtahasam Aghnana mambujakarena bhavantyametya gopada dhurgiri varadiva nila ratnam. Now Krishna had to start walking. If you ask your mothers or grandmothers, they will cherish every moment of your birth. The moment you turn, the moment you utter their name, the moment you start walking. So Krishna had to be taught how to walk. Vedanta Deshika says, Yashoda used to teach him how. She used to hold Krishna's hands and she used to say, yeah, keep that foot forward. Yeah. This one you take that forward. Padaistribhikranti jagatrayam tam sambhavaya balita balabhavam karena sangrihya karambujagriyam sancharayamasa shanair Yashoda. Who is this Yashoda teaching how to walk? Yesterday at about 7:30 he measured the worlds. And to that man this lady is teaching how to walk. All this is in Krishna Avataram, they say. Now I told you there are 2-3 methods which was a belief in the villages how to protect the child. One was broom, second was cart. Third, there is the talisman, which is called Dalat. So, it was a belief that if you take the nails of a tortoise, of a tiger, of all this and put it into a black rope and attach, it is a protection. Kurma Vyagri Nakaparimalayir Panchaheti Yashoda, says Parashara Bhattar. Now, whom is she putting the nails of the tortoise to? The one who came as the tortoise. So, Krishna has to wear. But why is Krishna sporting all of this? Because he wanted to always be under his mother's instructions. On the other hand, Yashoda used to clean his tongue. Always dairy products, his tongue used to be white in color. People used to say he's not brushing his teeth properly, not cleaning his tongue. How will you clean? Alvar says, when she used to take bath using the turmeric, after the bath and after a usage, the turmeric, curcumin lungasta, loses its pulp. So it becomes hard. So she used to say, put your tongue out. Yeah. And then she used to clean Krishna's tongue with the old turmeric remnant. In that gap, she spotted something within. The Mars, the Jupiter, the galaxy. Vayyam yelum kandal pillai vayule. Ayya navaditale. She wanted to cleanse. Imagine you're cleaning somebody's tongue and you see NASA software inside their mouth. ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜಗವನ್ನು ತೋರಿದ ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಉಡುಪಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನೀ ಬೇಗನೆ ಬಾರೋ. ಸಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾರೋ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಯೋಗ is without respect. If you have to say respectfully, you have to say bandri, bunny. Purandaradasa will always be disrespectful towards Krishna. He'll say baro, hogo. Vyasaraya writes that way. Baro, Krishnaiya, says Kanakadasa, baro. Whereas for Bhagavatottamas, they will give respect. See, we had a great family from Kerala who were our neighbors. So they attempted to learn Tamil. At one point in time, they'll say, Sedi valarranga. Evlo mariyade. Mama varudu. Adha vida mosam. Sedi ku kudukka. Mama ku avladhaan mariyade pola irukku. So, Baro Krishnaiya. So Krishna, as usual, he was fond of butter. You know, all these Navanita Chauryam is a part of Krishna Avataram. You will realize this when you get into what is the Vedanta Vakyam there. See, we need to understand the Vedanta. Krishna used to steal the butter, consume the butter and break the pot. The pot is the material body, butter is the Jivatma, the Bhogya, Bhokta, Bhogyam, Preritaram Chamatva, Vedanta Vakyam, where Paramatma treats Jivatma as his Bhogya Vastu and discards the material body, is very blatant in Navanita Chauryam. On the other hand, Krishna used to be fed with milk. Krishna was there, and Yashoda used to struggle to get the butter from the curds, because you'll have to keep churning, and the churning of the curds to derive the butter will happen before Suryodayam. You should not churn after the Suryodayam happens, because after Suryodayam, when the sun rises and you take, the butter will not be of great quality, is a belief. You have to do it before Suryodayam or after Suryastamanam. So that is why 1960s and 70s, when there was no Never Have I Ever, Maitreyi and Devi Vishwakumar, and the cyanide in the curry, and Mirzapur season 3, when none of this was there, the only entertainment was Upanyasam. So in all cities, they used to throng to Upanyasams, and they used to take the buttermilk in a Horlicks bottle or Ovaltine bottle. 2 hours of lecture, they'll keep on doing this. By the end of it, you'll get Navanitam. Niratakara kalita Navanitam. Niratakara kalita Navanitam Brahmadi Suranikara Bhavana Shobhita Padam Tiruvenkatachalasthitam Anupamam Harim Paramapurusham Gopalabalam Bhavayami Gopalabalam Tatpadam chintayeyam sada bhavayami gopalabalam manasevitam tatpadam chintayeyam. So, She used to struggle to get the butter from 1 week. Mattinal osaipadutha tairaravam kettilayo nayaga penbillai Narayanan Murthy. When I told this Pasuram in Karnataka, they were extremely happy. Narayanan Murthy. When I told this in Malibu temple, I had to give a lecture on Divyadeshams in LA, Los Angeles. They said, Tirupavai, one Pasuram was dedicated to us. I said, where? LA. Ilangiliye innum murangudhiyo shilyenru azhayel min elle. So, the butter was accumulated in a pot and it was hung from the ceiling. Krishna was being fed with milk by Yashoda. She heard the milk cooker sound. Achyutaya namaha, Anantaya namaha, Govinda. The 3 sounds come, right? It is like Achamanam. So she left Krishna, went running inside. Why? Because milk will never boil when you look at it. Have you noticed that? Paakumbodhu pongave pongai. You have to keep looking at it, it will never boil. The moment you turn left, it will boil. There is some jnana drishti to milk. See, there was a great poet called Bhartrhari. He wrote 3 Shataka Kavyams. It is called Niti Shatakam, Vairagya Shatakam and Shringara Shatakam. In one of the verses, he says, gives a beautiful description. He says, milk and water are the best of friends. Milk and water. Why? How much ever you mix them together, they will remain the same. That using this technique in Nandini in Karnataka, podra tanniya podra, white water. So, milk and water, in chemistry we call colloid in colloid, liquid in liquid. It will gel well. The viscosity is kind of same. So, they will not stay separately. Milk and water are friends. So, when you put them in a pot and put that over the gas stove, which is fire. Fire is the enemy that has the ability to separate the water from the milk. So, water will start escaping as vapor. Milk is unable to withstand the separation from water. So, it rises. The poet says, the milk rises. Mat jao pardesi, mujhe chhod ke mat jao. Tu kahan ja raha hai? So it rises. Then how do you convince that milk? You take some water and splash it on it, keep quiet, go down, it will go down. So Kavi says that when friends are separated, use one friend as the solution to their problem. This is what Kavi says, giving this description. So when the milk was boiling, Yashoda left Krishna and went in. Krishna had one habit. You concentrate on me, concentrate only on me. I should never be your backup. Now, see, whenever we travel for a vacation, we ensure that there's an extra, spare. You will have one different name. Spare. Okay, that's spare. You have, right? That's like that spare. Krishna would never like to be a spare. You go propitiate to him and say, Krishna, I offer my Sharanagati to you, protect me. He will protect. If you're able to protect, you protect. Else they are there. He doesn't like this backup solution. You surrender to him. Mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyo Arjuna. You surrender only to me. I will protect you. When Yashoda went inside, Krishna got upset. He went and stood above a stone, took a piece of stone and smashed it on the pot. So all the butter and buttermilk fell on him. And he was covered in butter and buttermilk. The commentator to the Pasuram writes, Ksheerarnavattil kidandavan morarnavattil irukindran. The one who was in milk ocean is now in buttermilk ocean. Fully smeared with butter and buttermilk. He broke with a stone. This is what Bhagavatam states. Sanjata kopas puritarunadharam sadrishya dadbhir dadi manthabhajanam bhitva mrishat drishta ashmanaraho jagasa hayyangavamantaram gataha. Hayyangam, see, I'll tell you something. What is Navanitam? Butter, correct. But Navanitam is butter. Fresh butter is called Hayyangavinam. So Krishna was very fond of Hayyangavinam. Here what had happened? Krishna broke that pot with a piece of stone, says Bhagavatam. But while writing the essence of Bhagavatam in Sanskritam, Narayana Bhattatri Narayaniyam says, Sanjata Kopa Samipitara Sabhanga Sangada Bhara Paribhuta Chetasa Manthadandam Upagrihya Patitam Hantadeva Dadibhajanam Tvaya. Danda, stick, Krishna broke that pot. So Bhagavatam says stone. Narayaniyam Bhattatri says stick. Immediately Bhattatri started crying. He said, in the original it is mentioned Krishna broke with a stone. I mentioned it as stick. How can I go against the original? He started crying. But he felt very bad that I should not go against the Pramanam. That day in Guruvayur, for a minute he saw that the Garbhagraham had vanished. And there was a stone, and standing on that was Krishna, and above him was a pot, and Krishna was using a stick and a stone to break that pot. Indicating that even that day, Bhattatri, I used a stick. But Shuka Brahmam had only a front view. See, in engineering graphics, front view, he saw only that stone. But it is you who has got the top view. You are able to see that stick. So I used the stick as well. Manthadandam upagrihya patitam hantadeva dadibhajanam tvaya. Now, Yashoda, who had gone to control the milk within, she saw this pot broken. She said, I must teach this boy a lesson. Sparing the rod and spoiling the child is really spoiling my son. She started running behind him. Hartum kumbhe vinhita karaha swaduhayyangavinam. Drishtva chatula mataram jatarosham payadishat prachalita padona pagachannatishthan. Krishna started running. At one point in time, he turned back and saw his mother. Yashoda was panting for breath. He thought, I should not be the cause of my mother's death. So he stopped. One foot on the ground, one foot in the air, suspended in the air, holding the butter. Swaduhayyangavinam drishtva damagrahana chatula mataram jatarosham payadishat prachalita padona pagachannatishthan. Now he turned back towards his mother. How did he look? Mata, do you think I would have broken the pot? You know that look. I don't know, here you're not allowed to hit. During the days in Bharat Desham, the teacher will have us talk. Hey, Suresh! Suresh, he'll be talking. Ma'am, me? Drishtva damagrahana chatula mataram jatarosham payadishat prachalita padona pagachannatishthan mithya gopaha sapadinayane milayan vishwagopta. How much efforts will it take for Krishna, who cheats the entire world, to cheat this lady, poor lady? Vishwagopta. She said, I need to teach you a lesson. She pulled one rope, and that was not one strand of single rope. It was a rope that was joined by taking small ropes. In this FedEx and all, you get one rope, right? So whenever Nandagopal used to get time, he used to put 3 knots to such ropes and created one long rope made from small useless portions. In Tamil, it is called Kanninun Siruthambu. He took that rope. And he said, she took that rope and she said, I need to tie you. Come here. She tried tying, she couldn't. Krishna started, I will tie it myself, give it to me. And he tied. Kanninun shirthambinal kattunna panniya perumayan. He tied. He had to be tied to someone. She saw in the front yard, her garage, what was there? She spotted one mortar. What is a mortar? Oral and a mortar. See, when I gave my lecture in Houston there's a beautiful Meenakshi temple. I was giving lectures there. In the due course, I described the beauty of Meenakshi as described by Nilakantha Dikshita in a work called Anandasagara Stavam. So in that he describes how beautiful Meenakshi is. So in one of the shlokas he says, Meenakshi, when you were married to Shiva, who's Sundareshwara, in that marriage, you had to be offered the Nupuram. Nupuram is the last ornament. Some people say it is anklet, some people say it is the ring, metti. So for, putting that metti, the bride has to keep her foot on an ammi, a grinding stone. That is why Nilakantha Dikshita says, I should have been that grinding stone because your foot would have been on my head, Meenakshi. I told this is a grinding stone called Ammi. Most children there They were clueless what is Ammi. I said it is a rectangle. Bottom there is another rectangle. The bottom rectangle is smaller than the upper rectangle. It will taper towards its ends, and then there will be a stone rolling to make Togayal. The boy couldn't understand. I tried my level best. It was in a lecture. I finally said she kept her leg on ninja mixie. Then he said, oh, ninja, I know. So by same thing, if you have to describe a voral, it is circular at the top. It is like a cone tapering in the middle. Then that cone becomes like a Pascal's triangle below. It is dark in color. I told this somewhere. The child started looking at the grandfather. I said, no. This is voral, that is Tata, this is ultra grinder. Finally, see, why I am telling you is, all these examples for people who give lectures like us have become obsolete because we don't use such objects. So Krishna was tried to the mortar. Krishna started crying. Yashoda said, I'm not even slapped you, why are you crying? What is the use after crying after you hit me? So I'm crying before. He was tied to the mortar. For an instance, the commentator said she was shocked. She couldn't differentiate from the mortar from Krishna. Both were kind of similar. Then how did she spot the difference? One cried, the other didn't. She tied him and she said, Yadi shaknoshi gachatvam ati chanchala cheshtita. You move from this place, you will know me. Sa chakara kutumbini. She went inside. Brahma told Saraswati, இவரை எவ்வளவு நான் தேடி இருக்கேன், இப்போ உட்காந்து இவகிட்டெல்லாம் திட்டு வாங்குறாருப்பா, தள்ளு. So she went in. He was in the front yard. Krishna said, what will I do now? At that point in time also there was some butter in that crevice. He started eating that. Men may come, men may go, but I go on forever, said Aung San Suu Kyi. He was eating. He started crawling now. And as he started crawling forward, the mortar also pushed and it also started following him. There were two large trees that were the landmark for Nandagopal's house. See, well, I used to work. I was also giving lectures. I was also working full time. So at one point in time, I had 5-day lecture in Thrissur, very close to Guruvayur. So there is a small hamlet there called Pungunnam. So I went to Pungunnam, Sita Ramaswamy Kol. 5 days lecture I had to work during the day. And I had to get the hard disk from my Bombay office. So they said, give me the address. So I asked my host, Mama, address kudungo. Illo periya mango tree irukunu ezhudhirungo. Just house with a mango tree. So I said, Mama, I cannot write such addresses. House with a mango tree. Who will come and deliver? Then he gave some address and then the object reached. But the point is, in most villages, when they give addresses, they will never say number 1, Weasley Avenue. They will never say like that. Mani pakatla veedu, Valamarath ediruk veedu. So what was the landmark of Nandagopal's house? 2 trees. And there was a little gap between the 2 trees. Krishna somehow managed to, peep in and get in through that crevice, that gap. He tried pulling the mortar. But somehow he was able to achieve that as well. So that is why I keep telling, when you go to Chennai, the auto drivers, they will take you between 2 large buses. Yampa ipdi pora. Kondu setruven sir onna. Engappa sepa, enga sepappa, enga sepa. So that is why I feel that autos are all descendants of Krishna, because auto means swatantra, he swatantriya. And there are 3. Achetana, Chetana, Ishvara Tattva, that has got 3 wheels. So I always believe auto drivers, because they will do whatever they want. Vallanai, Kondranai, Matrarai, Matralika, Vallanai, Mayanai. So the Krishna, like an auto driver, he went between the 2 trees. He pulled with the mortar, the 2 trees fell. Earlier when Putana came, living room went missing. Now with this, the 2 trees fell and 2 people escaped. Nalak Kubara and Manigriva, they were sons of Kubera, cursed sons, they escaped. So, Ulukhala Bandhanam, what does it indicate? It indicates Bhagavan's Saulabhyam. Pattudai Adiyavarku Eliyavan Pirargalukkariya Vittagan. Nammalvar says, very, very accessible. Yashoda, what has she studied? She doesn't even know where the school is. See, neither did she go to school, nor did she make Krishna go to a school. There was no school at all in Gokulam. That is why later in Krishna Avataram on day 7, when we see when Krishna, after having been invited by Kamsa through Akrura, goes to Mathura, vanquishes Kamsa in a duel, kills Kuvalaya Peetam, Mushtika Chanura, and goes to the jail premises where his parents have been imprisoned. At the end of the day, Devaki is an Indian mother. At the end of the day, she's an Indian mother. She was not even out of the jail premises. She just had one question. Enna padichirke? First question, what did you study? That is when Krishna said, what does study mean? School, you have to go. What is school? You have not gone to school? Immediately she said, I will not exit the jail premises without putting you to school. Vasudeva, check on Google or on the innor mami irkala Alexa. Alexa kita Syria inno tirka. Siri giri we ask that school. Every school is saying we want TC certificate. No school is ready to admit this boy. That is when they finally spot some Sandipani ashramam in Ujjain. So the point is, there was no exposure to education. But how did Yashoda get that bhakti? Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava kim shastra ughaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. Bhattatri says, beautiful shloka. See, when Krishna goes back to Dwaraka, he befriends a great person called Gishpati Putra Uddhava. Uddhava becomes a very good friend of Krishna. From then on, everywhere Krishna goes, Uddhava will come. And Uddhava had gotten so accustomed to being in Krishna's vicinity that he became like Krishna. Face, features, habits, talking, everything was sounding like Krishna. So every time Uddhava would walk on the streets of Dwaraka, people would think it is Krishna. Then he would say, no, I'm not Krishna, I'm Uddhav. Krishna is elsewhere. So Uddhava developed the arrogance in him that he is looking like Krishna. Krishna wanted Uddhava to be bereft of this arrogance. So he said, Uddhava had promised the Gopika Stris in Vrindavanam that I will be visiting them. I have too much work in Dwaraka. Can you go on my behalf? Uddhava said, well, this is a wonderful opportunity. I will go on your behalf there. He sits on the chariot and he goes. The moment the chariot enters Vrindavanam, the people there wonder, it is Krishna. So the Gopikastris come running with sweets, and Uddhava has to tell them, no, I'm not Krishna, I'm Uddhava. By the time he opens his mouth, one feeds one Shondesh, the other one gives Gude Roshugullo, somebody gives them Chonopois, somebody gives Obor Kabo, somebody gives Putarekulu, somebody gives Mysore Pak, somebody gives Adirasam, somebody gives Bandar Laddu, somebody gives Kakinada Kaja, somebody gives Adapradaman, somebody gives Ambalapura Payasam. Or then Kadi. When I go to Gujarat, I don't have to search for seeds. Everything is sweet. So every dish was given. That is when Uddhava starts shedding tears. He thinks, all this while I was thinking that I have bhakti towards Krishna. What am I in front of these Gopikastris? Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava. Is there anybody in this world who can offer so much love to Krishna as these Gopikastris? Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita. I have never seen. Nashrutava kim shastra ughaihi. What is the use of learning scriptures when you cannot match that bhakti? Kim shastra ughaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. All that I can do is put my palms together in front of these Gopikastris, fall at their feet. So Yashoda, when she died, we cannot ask what yagam she has done, which part of Grantham she has studied. Nothing. She had love for Krishna. That bhakti was unadulterated, uninterrupted, pristine to the core. And what more does he want? So Nekshita Nashrutava Kim Shastraughaihi. Krishna used to be done alankaram. He had curly hair. Chikulam Bahulam Viralam Brahmaram Mrudulam Vachanam Vipulam Nayanam Madaram Maduram Badanam Lalitam Chapalam Charitam Kadanubhave. Says Leela Shukar. Curly hair tresses, dark ones, effervescent ones, glowing ones. curly hair. And mothers who have had children with curly hair will know the problem. It is very tough to comb the hair. So Yashoda used to comb. Naibalu donku tara hagbidate. Yen saridu matte. Oh, yen madodu. So she wanted a hair clip. See, in Pondi Bazaar, if you go, you have one bend. It will have two holes. You can put that rod into it. Purvardham, Dvayamahamantram, Purvardham, Idam Uttarardham. You can do it. She wanted to comb his hair. She combed. She wanted a clip. She did not know where to find that clip. By then, a peacock had come, had shed one of its feathers. She thought, let me use this as a stopgap. She took that peacock feather and inserted, and she said, turn now. This became an added beauty to him. What was a stopgap solution became his trademark. Madashikhi pincha alankrita chikure. So this was done. Now Krishna one day told, Mata, I need to go to the forest to work. She said, you're barely 6. Who will give you work? Mata, this is my duty that I have to work. There'll be many, many thieves. I've heard so many nasty stories about Yamuna banks. Many thieves there. Yamuna nadi karayil eppozhudum kalvar bayam. He said, Mata, don't you know? I am the leader of them. Kalvanukku kalvanane ippozhudu pogiduven maadu meekum kanne nee poga vendam sonnen. Kachina pal tare, kalkandu chini tare. It's a conversation between a mother and a son which has been captured 350 years back by Oothukadu Venkatakavi. I have to go. It is earn while you learn, Amma. What are you learning, my son? First of all, to earn? No, but I need to go. What are you going to do? I'm going to let the cows and the calves graze. See, it was a general cliched statement in most of the South Indian families. If you don't study well, maad make a vidavampan. For him, that was his profession. Karavaigal pinchendru kaanam serndu unbom. Immediately, he's messaged his friends, Pichumani, Rajamani, Indamani, Andamani, ella. All of you gather at 7 a.m. in that clock tower. Let's all leave. The boy said, we have never seen, don't know how 7 a.m. looks, Krishna. You have to come. Immediately, they informed their mothers, Mother, Krishna has called, make my lunch box ready. Adu ondu gonkura rice, ondu coconut rice, sabudana kichdi. Everybody, they one watches Hebbar kitchen, the other one Venkatesh Bhatt. Venkatesh Bhatt ennava pandrar? Yeah. Guaranteed Vaikuntham. The oil and the ghee that he uses liberally, alle Vaikuntham. Sorvesham Manimugil Thorium Murakina, Argadala Yedutadina, Alave, India, and Napan, Varbu and Aranan, Tamarikanduande. The amount of ghee, see, even Periyalvar has been very careful. He says how to make Akkaravadisil. Those of you, this is a very particular Iyengar delicacy. You have to take little cereals, some rice, and for every grain of rice, you have to use one badam. And one cereal, you have to use one cashew. That is the ratio. 1:1:1:1. Then you'll have to let them boil in thick milk. You should not steam it in water. Then you will have to let the milk boil separately and then use good. You have to use good jaggery and then sprinkle without taking the pag. Because if you take the pag, they give me a lecture, I'll do that separate, demonstrate and show. Now, after doing this concoction, you should not add ghee to this. You should add this to the ghee. Take one big barrel full of ghee, add this there. Why? Periyalvar says, Neyyidai nallador sorum niyadamum attani chevagamum. Neyyidai soru. He doesn't say soridai nei. It should be full of ghee. Here and there you should spot that sweet. So all these delicacies were made by the mothers in their boxes and they were given to the children. And Krishna's mother was very practical, as usual, curd rice, maybe a Priya or Ruchi to go with it. So here Krishna took that and morning 7 a.m. they left. They reached the banks of river Yamuna. 11 a.m. Krishna said, we'll all eat. Now it's lunch time. They all sat in a circle. Krishna too sat with them. They opened their boxes, and that is when the friend said, Krishna, you shouldn't be seated with us. You should be seated in the middle. Krishna said, okay, fine. If you all ask me to insist that I have to sit in the middle, I will sit in the middle. He sat in the middle. People were seated around him. The Purushas, the boys were seated. Gopas were seated around him. They all opened 1, 2, 3, and they opened their boxes. One took the ball of Gonkura rice. The other took the ball of coconut rice. The surprising element was they didn't put it into their mouth. They held it in their hand and said, Krishna, you have it. The commentator writes, the boys have never known one line of Agama Shastra, but they know that the first ball of rice has to be offered to Bhagavan. And Krishna opened his box. On one hand, he had curd rice. See, I had 7 days of lecture of Bhagavatam in English in Vasant Vihar, Delhi. Majorly attended by lot of Astikas who speak Hindi, Haryanvi, Sindhi. When I told that Krishna was having curd rice, they were upset. Towards the end, they say, "ये क्या sir, मद्रासी बना चुके हैं आप कन्हैया को? वो क्यों सिर्फ कर्ड राइस खाएंगे? क्यों रोटी या नान, कुछ पनीर बटर मसाला वगैरह नहीं खा सकते हैं क्या?" मैंने बोला, अबे यार, इसमें तो भागवत में ऐसा ही लिखा है, मैं क्या करूं? उसमें तो लिखा है कि उन्होंने कहा था, मसृळ कबलम बिभ्रद्वेणुम जठर पठय श्रृंगवेत्ये च कक्षे वामे पाणो मसृळ कबलम. Masrila kabalam means balls of curd rice. On the other hand, he had tatphalam angulishu. He had soaked vegetables, which is pickle. On the other hand, both hands, one curd rice, one this. क्या sir है ये? सिर्फ curd rice खाएंगे क्या कन्हैया? I said no. Though he had curd rice, he was absolutely following the culture that is there in the north. They asked how. See, from the south of India, when I went to Pilani, it was a big shock for me in the canteen because they were all devotees of Narasimha. When the chapati is given, both hands, sata patala bhishane sarabhasa attaha sodbhate spurat kridhi parisputat, both hands. And in my house, I remember if I would use the other hand, I will get one smack. And I had to keep the hand and eat like this. So when they used both the hands, I said, see, Krishna, though he had curd rice, on one hand he had curd rice, the other hand he had pickle. So he has deployed both. He has had curd rice to satisfy the south. And he has had in both hands to satisfy the north. He's pan-India. Bibhradvenum jatara pathaya shringavetye chakakshe Vame panau masrila kabalam. He had curd rice. Tatphalam angulishu. The boys offered their rice. Krishna said, he had tears in his eyes. Because the boy said, Krishna, you have this first. Which child of 6-5 years can think that they can offer it to Krishna? Those Gopas' love towards Krishna is unparalleled. See, when Arjuna came, that was all mature friendship. These boys, what love they had for Krishna. Krishna started shedding tears. He was holding curd rice, pickle, tears on his hand. People were offering their food. It was a beautiful drishyam. Tatphalam angulishu tishtan madhye swapati suhrudo hasayan narmabhisvaihi swarge loke mishati bhuvuje yajnabuk balakelihi. See, on the other side of Yamuna, there was a little habitat where people used to live in huts. And in such hutments, there was a lady who was a widow who used to have a child. And every day, that particular time, while she used to feed her child with food, the child would have one pertinent question. Mata, where is Swargam? Where is Vaikuntham? And the mother would say, look upwards, there is Swargam, there is Vaikuntham. There is Swargam, there is Vaikuntham. When the child would look with amazement, above, she used to feed. Every day she used to feed the child. And every day the child had this question. And today, this day, when that mother was feeding the child had the same question, where is Vaikuntham? The mother did not look up. She said, see on the other side of Yamuna where Krishna is. That is Vaikuntham. Swarge loke mishati bhubuje yajnabuk balakelihi. That is when Krishna did all this, and then he said, we need to wash our dabbas. We have to do our dishes. Then by the time he did his dish and came, the boys were missing. And he thought the boys must have been tending to the cows and calves, and he went there. The cows and calves which were grazing were missing. Pichumani, Chandramouli, where are you? He couldn't spot. Then he, being Parabrahman, he thought for a moment, he sensed that Brahma had stolen all of them. Yes, sir. Brahma ku poi yes, sir. Shivuniki tamasa gunamichi kamala bhavuniki rajasa gunamusagi shachi dhavuniki garvamu neragajesina bagugashi tyagaraja vinuta ninnu yemani pogadudura. Shivuniki tamasa gunamichi kamala bhavuniki rajasa gunamusagi shachi dhavuniki garvamu neragajesi. Kamala Bhava, Brahma will have Rajogunam, Tamogunam. When that mood swing happens, he will kidnap. He took all these children, cows, calves to Satyalokam. He thought that he wanted to teach Krishna that he is after all a normal person. But Krishna was given the responsibility to ferry all these children to the banks of Yamuna and bring them back home, all the cows and calves. He, being Parabrahman, became those cows, became those calves, became those boys boxes, became those curry leaves which are left as remnants inside those boxes. So that day when the children went home, the mothers found that there was an unfound attraction towards their own children. While washing the vessels also, they found some unique Nobody will enjoy doing the dishes. But that day the mother spotted there was some unique attachment to that vessel because it was Krishna. Meanwhile, these boys and the cows and calves which were taken by Brahma to Satyalokam, Brahma had to enter Satyalokam. The Dwarapalakas of Brahmalokam said, Satyalokam said, आप नहीं जा सकते अंदर. मैं ब्रह्मा हूं. तो वो कौन है? कौन? Peep in. He peeped. Next to Saraswati, there was another Brahma. Yo, Saraswati! Talela paana ella vechi nandama. Kanne, kalaimane, ella madra. I am Brahma! Saraswati tells, இது யாரு நான் வெளியில நிக்கிறேன்? சரியில்லம்மா, இவள்லாம் இங்க கூட வந்துட்டா போல இருக்கு. அதுக்கு தான் வால் கட்டணும். So here Brahma was there. And meanwhile, these boys, we want butter. Yo, keep quiet. I don't have a place here. Now Brahma, he did not know how to maintain these people. Neither he had Swarga. Then he went down. When he went back to Vrindavanam, he spotted another set of those boys, cows and calves. Oh my goodness. Then where will he keep these people? He then surrendered to Bhagavan, Sharanagati, and said, Bhagavan, out of my garvam I did this. I didn't realize that you are the Parabrahmam to Brahma. Show yourself to me. That time he spotted the boys and the cows and calves who were in Vrindavanam had Srivatsam in their chest, indicating they were all forms of Parabrahmam himself. That very moment he surrendered and said, Bhagavan, accept me. Next minute, all of them vanished. Krishna started crying, Pichumani, Rajamani, you remember how he had cried earlier? He came back to the same place. And then these boys, the cows and the calves were given. But the beauty was, these boys went home and told their mothers, Mother, today your gonkura rice was very good. Coconut rice was very good. You know what we did? We ate. The mothers were wondering because that was not the menu that day. It was a menu long back. But why were the boys narrating? Because by then 1 year had gone away. So this is the question of time travel. So in time travel, in 1 year, they were able to narrate an incident in the past, oblivious of the fact that 1 year had vanished. That is why Parikshit asks in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yetat kaumarajam karma hareratma hi mokshanam mrityoho paugandake bala drishtvochur vismita vraje. Hey Shukabrahmam, I have heard that there is one particular incident which occurred when they were 6 years of age but was narrated when they were 7 years of age. What is that incident? That was this incident. This is called Vatsapaharanam. Beautiful incident. That said, we have loads of portions to cover in Krishna Avataram for tomorrow and the day after. And I have to tell you one very important thing. The last year, 2023, our trust, Deshika Daya, had envisioned a grand dance production, Natya production, under the leadership of the very famed Bharatanatyam guru Anita Guha. And the music was tuned by Rajkumar Bharati, the great-grandson of Bharatiyar, the Sangeet Natak Academy Award winner. The soundscape design was by Sai Shravanam, who worked for the Life of Pi movie. And I had done the curation, narration, and Deshika Daya Trust had sponsored it. So this was titled Agre Pashyami. That dance production is completely based on Narayaniyam. So you will have all the avatars from various languages with my narration in English. This production was showcased in Bharatadesham thrice in Chennai, once in Bangalore, once in Hyderabad, once in Pune, once in Bombay, once in Delhi, once in Manjakudi, all these places. And Aim for Seva, which is a beautiful organization that is serving the society under the guidance and grace of Pujya Sri Dayananda Saraswati Ji, has been there in the US and doing a yeoman service both here and mainly in Bharatadesham. So they are bringing this grand production to the US this year. And it is coming to Boston. It's called Wellesley Street Fine Arts Center at Regis College Fine Arts Center, Wellesley Street, Weston, and Massachusetts. So Aim for Seva, we have the representative here. Oh, so he's here. He represents Aim for Seva. So this is an open to all event. So the date, I'll tell you, it is on the 22nd of September. It's a Sunday at 5 p.m. You should witness this dance, not because I've curated or done it. It's an excellent production that has only one maqsad, one objective, that is to invoke and induce bhakti. So it's beautiful production. It has been showcased across different cities in India to rave reviews. So Aim for Seva is doing it. It's a free event. As usual, they make it free. Of course, donations for the yeoman service that they do is always welcome in large numbers. Please be a part of this Agre Pashyami, 22nd September, Sunday. I'm sure they're going to ensure that there are going to be pamphlets which will be distributed as well. And second thing, www.giriusa.com, buy the book. And third thing, tomorrow the lecture will be held at 6:30 here. So we'll be going through a lot of scenes. There'll be Kali Anardanam, Govardhanodharanam, Venuganam, Navaneeta Chauryam, Rasa Krida, Ashtapadi. So tomorrow I'll be dealing with Ashtapadi of Jayadeva as well, because there'll be Radha only there. So all this will be there. Important incidents in Krishna Avataram. So please be a part of it. 6:30. I'm sure we need to respect the fire marshals and the other safety precautions. That is why the organizers had to take some astikas out. It was meant as nothing with a bad intent, because we have to follow the norms. And you know, you've been living here in this country, so if something goes wrong, they should not stop the lecture. That's their only intent. So please be early so that. And one more thing, my earnest request is for the elderly people, please offer them the chair. If your legs can still bend, you can try sit on the floor as well, because you know, elderly people who have got sticks and who can't bend, it's okay. Little children should sit on the floor. 30-40 years back there was not a single chair in any of these harikathas, but now you barely have people sit on the floor. So young children should always sit. Give the seats to the elderly ones who need assistance. So that's my request. Tomorrow it will be at 6:30, the 6th day. The 7th day, which is the Sunday, it will be held at morning 10 a.m. So, namaskar. So that will be for the Sunday. So I'm sure the temple has a lot of events and activities. Please be a part of it. Please strengthen the hands of the committee members by being volunteers, so that it becomes a very young temple. You know, young volunteers should help strengthen Sanatana Dharma. That should be our objective. Kavita Arkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kalyana Rupaya Kalau Jananam Kalyana Datre Karuna Sudhabdhe Kamvadi Divya Yudha Satkaraya Vatalayadhisha Namo Namaste Narayana 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 अनन्तरामाख्यमहिप्रणीतं स्तोत्रं पठेत्यस्तु नरस्त्रिकालं वातालयेतश्च कृपाफलेन लभेत सर्वाणि च मङ्गलानि नारायण 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 Those of you who have already had pictures with me, don't repeat because there'll be new people who may want to visit me. Those whom I've already seen, if you come, people whom I have not interacted will not have a chance. Thank you. Vango, namaskaram, Swami.
Thank you all. Now offer the Kannada Kovil Prasadam. As usual, the Prasadam will be available, but not downstairs, but it will be over the tent. I think it's going to take around 10 minutes or something like that. And I think Dushyanth already said about tomorrow's program 6:30. Don't forget the Sunday program is at 10 o'clock. It will end with Rukmini Kalyanam. Thank you all.